Oke, for the second debate is dari
Lutfi Abdul Hakim is a government team versus Anita Rahma Abdullah is an opposition team. Time is yours.
tanda ini ya. Menit. Dimulai dari sekarang. Masukin.
Cek.
1 menit. Silakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Lutfi Abdul Hakim. I'm from 12th Science 2 as government team.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The honorable judges of debate today, timekeepers, ladies and gentlemen who watch this at home, and government team. My name is Anita Rahma from 11th grade Science 1 as the opposition team. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Silakan government team 3 menit. Dimulai dari sekarang.
The honorable judges of debate today, timekeeper, ladies and gentlemen who watch this at home, and my beloved opposition team. The motion today is this House believes that Omnibus Law has solution for our country. First, I will show the definition and background of Omnibus Law. The Omnibus Law became a hot topic of conversation in Indonesia after the DPD and representative to the Jokowi government agreed that the Omnibus Law, literally the word omni, comes from the Latin com, which means many generally this association with a literary word, resulting from combination of various terms, and the word creation bill was enacted into law on Monday. In fact, there are many benefits that we got from this law. It just there is much require further strong direction to the public so that they can believe its benefit as for the benefit among others. Coordinatory Minister Alanga said, in Omnibus Law, one of which had been stipulated about the omnibus that workers would receive and the time that worked in the law. A bonus that workers receive a maximum number of overtime hours is also added to 3 hours in 4 days and make workers more productive. Achieving quality investment and investment aim to spur economic growth. To achieve that, investment need to be increased in line with the first plan, namely the simplification of the licensing process, simplified on a risk basis. Besides that, standard the licensing process and fees are required. Guarantee legal protection. According to Erlanger, there are broader business fields where our investment can be entered by referring to business field prioritized by the government list or prioritized investment for legal protection that is quite strong. It's not on by a business actor with the application of the ultimate media relay to sanction urban employment. In addition, according to the Carpentry Minister for Erlangga, one of the ways to provide as many jobs as possible is to attract investment both at home and abroad.
10 menit terakhir.
Omnibus Law Indonesia regulation system with all advantages carried by the Omnibus Law to overcome obstacles and face challenge what is often debated by academics is the matter of the suitability of the statutory system of regulation in Indonesia.
Silakan kapasitas tim 3 menit dimulai dari sekarang.
Okay. Beforehand, I will review the opinion of the government team. I don't agree with the statement that omnibus law is a solution for Indonesia because if we look at it from various points of view, of course, we will realize how many negative impacts of omnibus law are rather than positive, even when planning an expert who is asked for information. First, the application of the omnibus law is in plain view of the omnibus law can eliminate the minimum wage. This back impact will slowly be felt by workers. This can be seen from the government's desire to implement an hourly wage system. In other words, workers who work less than 40 hours a week will automatically get below the minimum wage. With this system, it will be even more miserable for workers who are seek perform worship according to their religious obligation or take maternity leave. Of course, this will become take maternity leave. Of course, will become a problem for them because their wages are no longer paid because at that time they are considered not working. If we review in law number 13 of 2030 concerning manpower, it is stated that no worker should receive a wage below the minimum of it is done, it is tantamount to crime. The unconsciousness of the omnibus law is a reflection of the forced work. This can be seen from the system Jan he is treating. Second, the eliminating severance pay related to this in law number 13 of 2030. There, the issue of supply has been regulated for workers who have been laid off. The size of the supply is a maximum of 9 months and can be multiplied by 2 for certain types of layoff so that we can get 18 months of wage. In addition, they receive a maximum 10-month work period of wage and a minimum compensation of 15% of the total employment or years of service. In other words, the supply that is regulated in law number 13 years 2003 will in fact be eliminated and replaced with a new term of allowance which is only 6-month wage, whereas previously workers were entitled to up 38 months of wage. From the 2 points above, it is illustrated to us that it's unfortunate to be treated by the omnibus law about the purpose of implementing the omnibus law is to create jobs and also for investment. Thank you.
Decision 3 menit dimulai dari sekarang.
Beforehand, I will review the opinion of the opposition team. I want to reply opposition team who said about religious. We limit that argument is not suitable or discussed because we have argument for refute that. The aim of omnibus law is simplify licensing and regulation at the same time. It's to direct investment and eradicate overlapping regulation, passion and for me, this omnibus law also based on his evaluation in the first period, where President Jokowi's vision and mission was in facilitating investment from abroad to Indonesia. In his speech, Jokowi did mention the importance of simplifying the Bureaucracy investment for job creation must be prioritized. Long projects have to be cut. What are the reasons and considerations for those who agree with the omnibus law? Indonesia indeed being hit by overregulation. The Indonesia Center for Law and Policy Studies not that during Jokowi administration until November 2019. Regulation have been issued that detail are 131 laws, government regulation 839, presidential regulation, and ministerial regulation. No, thanks. This data is one. This data one of the consideration to agree with the Omnibus Law. The Omnibus Law encourages effort to strengthen the national economy by creating jobs and issuing tax facility. One of the positive side of the Omnibus Law bill's goal is to create jobs for the unjob for the 7 million. Thank you.
Silakan 2 menit dimulai dari sekarang.
Beforehand, I would review the opinion of the government team. The objective for investment Indonesia is included in the same category. This can be seen from foreign companies to invest in Indonesia quite well. Policy does not generate benefits for one party but all parties. The sentence above is a perception which I then return to the stakeholder. We hope that the policies or decisions taken actually provide solution for the people, not solution that later accomplish unilateral interests. Based on this data, I think that the job creation bill doesn't answer the problem. We torture the country's structural economic no problems with the main focus on facilitating investment by loosening regulation, not towards the fundamental economic. The current economic slowdown in Indonesia country because Indonesia economic problems lie in a more basic matter. Indonesia economic problems are partly due to low labor productivity. According to the Global Competition Index report released by the World Economic Forum or WEF last year, the ability of Indonesian workers was ranked 65 nothing out of 141 countries with a score of 64. This ranking is inferior to Malaysia, which is in 30th place with a score of 67.2.5. Even such, we are still ahead of Thailand and Vietnam, which is ranked 73 and 93. Meanwhile, the omnibus law only focuses on generating new jobs, not on increasing worker productivity. Thank you.
Baik, final statement 1 menit dimulai dari sekarang. Silakan.
I will emphasize here again my opinion that agree with Omnibus Law. Omnibus Law is solution for us which has a big good impact on our country, especially in regulating the economy in Indonesia makes work easier because of Omnibus Law make investment easier because regulation that regulate investment easier because there will be no more regulation that regulate investment because Jokowi has desired. The omnibus was chosen as strategy to overcome the challenge or obstacle of regulation in Indonesia because it's believed to have several advantages in applying the concept of the omnibus law. Thank you.
Final statement 1 menit mulai sekarang. Silakan.
Based on quoting data from the World Economic Forum, the main problems that hinder investment in Indonesia are corruption and legal uncertainty that surrounds them. WEF research shows there are There are 16 factors that hinder the investment climate in Indonesia, and corruption is a major obstacle. Indonesia is currently in 85th place out of 180 countries in the 2019 Corruption Perception Index released by Transparency International. Because of that, omnibus law is not a solution for our country. Thank you.
Jeda dulu ya.
Okay.
Well, the next debate is from Neng Putri as a opposition team versus Arya as a government team. Time is yours.
Silakan 1 menit untuk memperkenalkan diri. Dimulai dari sekarang.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Judge of debate today, timekeeper, ladies and gentlemen who watch this debate at home, and my beloved opposition team. I'm from government team. My name is Arya, and I'm from 2010 as speaker. Thank you.
Sekarang
Assalamualaikum.
masukin.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Neng Putri Dwi Sriswati. In here, I'm as opposition team. Thank you.
Silakan our first session 3 menit dimulai dari sekarang.
Well, related to our motion today is omnibus law is a solution for our country, and I agree with this motion. Before start, I will define what is omnibus. Omnibus comes from the Latin word omnis, which means all. If related to the concept of law in the Black Law Dictionary, the omnibus means numerous objects or items at once. Many things or having a various purpose, likewise in Gluck and Cornell. The omnibus law package together several research into one or combine diverse subjects into a single law. The various meaning of the omnibus can be understood as a statutory regulation that is made to target a major issue that can revoke or change several laws. Omnibus is a term for referring to a law that deals with various topics and is intended to amend, trim, or repeal a number of political and social change. Edward Kenny, CSIS researcher for the Department of Politics and Social Change, said that the omnibus law is a legal concept. This regulation is meant to revoke or change several laws. Some point that we should know about omnibus. 5 omnibus law plan. The first is create job. The second, development and strengthening of the financial sector. The third is taxation. The fourth, pharmacy. The fifth, capital of the country. As what has been released, the number of law and regulation in Indonesia have reached the stage of hyper-regulation or obesity. For example, it is known that there are already. In the condition of Indonesian regulation, the concept of omnibus law is a conscious and overt strategy to simplify regulation in Indonesia. The problem of hyperregulation in Indonesia has been raised by various studies including its impact on regulatory overlap. The Center for Law and Policy Studies, for example, notes that for October 2015, from this amount it can be said that indeed the number of law and regulation in Indonesia is too much. With this amount according to the Regulatory Quality Index issue by the World Bank Indonesia position during 16 and 1966 until 2017 has always been ranked.
Silakan 3 menit dimulai dari sekarang.
Well, thank you for the government team that was delivered the arguments. As we know that law first appeared in Joko Widodo's first speech after being inaugurated as President of the Republic of Indonesia, namely the Employment Creation Law and the Law on the Empowerment of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. But I don't agree with the argument because according to the Indonesian People Faction, every article in the Omnibus Law bill shows that the state ignores people's right to live in dignity and in fact accelerates environmental destruction. For example, national strategic projects in the form of construction of airports and airports, including Kertajati Airports in West Java, Yogyakarta International Airport, Kuala Tanjung International Port, Makassar New Port, two new tourist destinations, such as Labuan Bajo, which neglects sustainable development and ends the livelihoods of fishermen and farmers. Another example is the national strategic project in the form of electricity infrastructure development, such as the steam power plant in Bata, Cirebon, and Indramayu, which also destroyed the land of farmers and fishermen. Instead of thinking about the fact of farmers and fishermen who have lost their livelihoods, the Draft Job Creation Act facilitates the greed and corruption of many black investors with the help of oligarchs. The Omnibus Law on Employment Copyrights allow entrepreneurs to enjoy 19 years of direct business use right, whereas previously it was only 25 or 35 years with an extension of 25 years if the company met their requirements. This omnibus law also supports oppression and cheating for workers. These work guarantees are eliminated as outsourcing and contracts can become increasingly rampant. Wage and severance pay are also not protected, so that there will be more arbitrariness by naggy businessmen. The Omnibus Law worsens the protection of the rights of women workers. There is no leave due to menstruation or miscarriage because it only mentions annual leave and other leave that are regulated in work agreement, company regulations, or collective working agreement. Thank you.
Thank you to the opposition team. Well, hyper-regulatory conditions cause Indonesia to deal with overlapping legal issues. Inconsistency and disharmony caused by hyper-regulation become one of the main factors inhibiting Indonesia competitive, where the competitiveness of a national determines the ability of a country to attract investors to Indonesia. No thank. The condition of Indonesian competitiveness is affected by indication of the lack of ease of doing business in Indonesia. So that investors are less interested in investing in Indonesia. This is because, according to the World Bank, Indonesia has multi-layered procedure. This ranks Indonesia out of 190 countries with ease of business and rank 50th as a competitive country. And what is more worrying is a lot of hawk news related to this omnibus law. Liputan6.com, Jakarta, the Minister of Defense, who is also the chairman of Gerindra Party DPP, Prabowo Subianto, spoke up regarding the work creation omnibus law which was passed by the DPR on October 5. There are hawks everywhere. These hawks want to create chaos. I believe this is from abroad. There are fragile powers, certain countries that never like Indonesia to be safe and advanced. Prabowo said in an interview with Courtesy DPP Gerindra Monday. Why did the government propose the omnibus law? The government has promoted the vision of a power Indonesia 20 and 45 as a strategic step to make Indonesia the top 5.
Well, thank you for a government team that was delivering the arguments. But I want to ask that what influence did the omnibus law give so that the government want to ratify the law? Can you answer this? Okay. The omnibus law created jobs has drawn controversy among trade unions and community groups because it contains articles that treat worker rights. What laborers are not part of society? The process of drafting the job creation bills is considered by a number of community groups to be less open and less transparent. Discussion carried out from the start with minimal consultation violate the right to participate in public affairs and the right to information as for the impact resulting from the omnibus law. Namely, the first, unlimited contracts, Article 59. The job creation law eliminates the rules regarding the period of a certain time work agreement or contract workers. Article 59, paragraph 4 of the job creation law states further provisions regarding the type and nature or activity of work, the period and time limit for the extensions of the work agreement for a certain period of time are regulated by a government regulation. Previously, the main power law stipulated the contract worker could be held for a maximum of 2 years and could only be extended once for a maximum period of 1 year. Second, cut off holidays. Third, regulation about wage are changed. Thank you.
Final statement cuma 1 menit ya. Silakan dimulai dari sekarang.
I believe that omnibus law is a solution for our country. The omnibus was chosen a strategy to overcome the challenge and obstacle of regulation in Indonesia. Because it is believed to have several advantages, in applying the omnibus law used by several countries, while addressing both vertical and horizontal public policy conflict effectively and efficiently harmonizing government policies, both at the central level and in the regions, and government certainly and legal protection for policymakers. The omnibus law has not been able to become a strategy to burst a regulatory problem in Indonesia. Thank you.
Oke, 1 menit. Silakan mulai dari sekarang.
Well, maybe the government thinks that the omnibus law will bring good change to the country's economy, but harm workers and eliminate the comfort zone for workers, the loss of minimum wage provisions in districts or cities, the problem of severance pay regulation. whose quality is considered to be decreasing, and without certainty, the Omnibus Law makes the use of outsourcing more flexible. The intention of reforming the regulation, which is predicted by the Omnibus Law Crypto bill, will actually hamper its implementation because the simplification carried out is only finalizing without any planning that is integrated with the development agenda. Even dozens of academics from various universities throughout Indonesia also rejected the ratification of the Omnibus Law on job creation, as well as controversy among trade unions and community groups because it contains articles that threaten workers' rights. So, according to the material previously discussed, as an opposition team, I disagree with the motion that Omnibus Law as the solution for our country. That is all, and thank you.
Lanjut ya Pak, terakhir.
Well, the last debate is Salma Fatima as a government team versus Marni Putri Apriliani as an opposition team. Time is yours.
Silakan perkenalkan diri. Dikasih waktu 1 menit. Silakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The honorable judges and all participants, my name is Salma Fatima from 11 Science 1 as government speakers. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
1 menit. Dimulai sekarang.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mani Putri Apriliani as opposition team. Thank you so much.
Oke, buat order session 3 menit ya. Silakan government team dimulai dari sekarang. 3 menit.
The honorable judges, I want to say thanks because given time for me. Omnibus Law is a rule set by the Indonesian Republic, Indonesia, especially for workers. Omnibus Law is a summary for the law which includes several rules for workers. Omnibus Law can be applied in Indonesia because of the rules made in the Omnibus Law as a reference to improve the quality of workers in Indonesia so that they can be more competitive with foreign workers who have high discipline. Rule made in Omnibus Law as a way to improve the country's economy because the rules are more directional. With this regulation, workers in Indonesia will be of higher quality. Indonesian society will accept the rules in the Omnibus Law because they will support government programs to advance the Indonesian economic sectors. Omnibus Law can be applied in Indonesia with concrete rules that are applied in Indonesian society from now on. Society must be given an understanding of the importance of managing the economic sector as an asset that will become capital for future generations. So with the existence of Omnibus Law in one of the means that Indonesia needs to apply as an effort to make it happen, and the community will support it so that the progress of the country's economy will increase. Omnibus Law can be applied in Indonesia as effort and aspiration to advance the Indonesia economy. Thank you.
Oke, 3 menit. Mulai.
So first I would like to point out what's wrong with government argument. Government argument say that Omnibus Law could create jobs and grow economy, but
That is wrong because the application of omnibus law cannot only support the economy but also needs to pay attention and maintain a balance with other sectors like corruption and human rights because those are major problems in our country. An omnibus law has several weaknesses. This weakness stem from a lack of explanation about the direction of omnibus law. According to Anas Biarwati, a member of Commission 11, the House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia, Indonesia economy cannot be resolved by regulation because Indonesian economic problems are still fundamental. Indonesian economic problems include low labor productivity, based on Global Competition Index report released by the World Economic Forum in 2019. The ability of works in Indonesia is ranked 65 out of 141 countries with a score of 64. This ranking is loose to Malaysia, which was ranked 30. Now I will go on and explain why we definitely disagree with this motion. First, from the beginning, the making of omnibus laws seemed rushed, and President Jokowi only asked for 3 months to finish. The bill's deliberation process took less than 6 months since it was first discussed in legislature on 14 April. This is very short time to discuss an enormous bill that amends 79 existing law. And second, the government neglected to allow participation of key stakeholders in drafting process. The creation bill was dropped at the end of 2018 under the coordination of the Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs. The government claimed that the bill would create new jobs and improve welfare, but many affected groups such as labor unions were never invited to give their views. Some consider omnibus law to be anti-democratic. According to ICEL Executive Director Reynaldo Sambiri, everywhere we're talking about access to participation, especially in developed countries. Access to justice and information is something that's common. The omnibus law, which existing status, limits the participatory process to only those who will be directly impacted. It was also difficult for the public to obtain the official version of the draft bill instead of providing a publicly available draft. The government claimed that the version widely circulated through social media was incorrect or hoax. This lack of transparency is clearly contrary to the principle of openness and the obligation to encourage public participation in Article 5 and 96 of Law Number 12 of 2012 on lawmaking.
Oke, silakan untuk government team untuk 2 menit mulai dari sekarang.
Well, thank you so much for opposition speakers. Before I give my argument, I want to ask for you how the Indonesian people can accept this law. Is there an answer? How the Indonesian people can accept this law? Yes. Is there an answer? Okay, well. There are several advantages of applying the omnibus law concept in resolving regulatory responsibility in Indonesia among others. 1. To resolve conflicts on law but particularly and horizontally in fast, effective and affectionate manner. 2. To uniform government policies at the central and regional levels to support the investment claims. 3. Reduce licensing management to the more integrated, efficient, and effective. 4. Able to break the convolution boring counting chain. 5. Improved coordination relation between related agencies because it has been regulation in the integrated omnibus law regulation policy. And 6. There is a legal guarantee and legal protection for policymakers. And as for the sum of the positive impacts said by several parties include, campaigned by the coordinating Minister for Economic Appears Erlangga Hartono in a publication of the CNBC Indonesian portal, in was stated that there were many positive impacts for the draft of the Omnibus Law and appointment question which will be discussed in the DPR. This bill does not only have implications for the labor sector for all. Thank you so much. Okay. The government team certainly claimed that the law on job creation will simple Indonesia's complicated regulation, but that this hardly seems like, given that the job creation law meant that hundreds of professions to be further regulated by dozens of subordinate regulations that are yet to be issued. And I will explain. Indonesian government is trying to downplay the potential environment fallout from a recently passed slate of deregulation. Foreign investors have joined domestic groups ranging from labor union to university students to religious conservative, inflaming concern about the omnibus law on job creation that Parliament passed on October 5. Its recent letter to the Indonesian government, a group that includes 35 global investors managing expressed worries that the new legislation will have damaging consequences for the environment. Specifically, we fear that proposed change to be permitting framework, environmental compliance monitoring, public consultation, and system will have several environmental, human rights, and labor-related repercussions that intrude significant uncertainty and could impact the attractiveness of Indonesian markets. Among the concerns is rollback of environmental protection might lead to greater deforestation, which is the main driver of Indonesian greenhouse gas emission and is true to jeopardize global efforts to mitigate climate change. Felinkins, a senior Asia director at Environment Campaign Group, Indonesian rainforests are world third large after the Amazon and Africa Congo basin and are ecologically important to their rich biodiversity with animals including elephants. Thank you so much.
Oke, silakan last session, final statement sampai ini. Silakan.
Thank you for the opposition speakers. The Omnibus Law on Employment Creation is considered to be a resolution informing the Indonesian economy after being passed by the Representative Council together with the government. The reason is the Omnibus Law will provide components in the investment sector in boosting development in the country. So, regarding the above discussion, the Omnibus Law had a good influence and is a resolution for the state. And I agree with this motion that Omnibus Law as a solution for our country. Thank you. The Omnibus Law is not a solution for our country. These are major problems that can only solved by Omnibus Law, but consider other sectors and policies. Not only have an impact on environment, but also have impact on labor unions. Besides that, Omnibus Law limit of discussion space makes people disadvantaged. This is the same as the anti-democratic, and the government should not create problems by pass Omnibus Law. It means government and problems in other problems. This is a huge problem, so don't let this happen over and over again, as there are potential for this to be replicated in the future. And this time to us to put out as much criticism as possible and voice our protest as loudly as possible. Thank you.
Baik, buat debat kali ini pada acara debat kali ini kita debat telah selesai. Jadi buat yang lolos ke babak selanjutnya nanti kita umumin lagi selagi juri masih merekap nilainya. Baik, mungkin kita cukupkan saja. Saya Farhan Talas.
Saya Smetla Aziza.
Kami pamit undur diri. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Studio off air. Studio off air. Hah? Di off air dong? Udah? Ini udah kan ya?